Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Topography. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this show is brought to you by Matt Miller and people like you. You might be wondering, Dark Logos, when we talk about topography, usually you're not really seen in the footage. Why do we see your lovely face today? I'm going to tell you why. This is a public service announcement. We thought that Felix Faust would be properly taken care of by whiz kids, that their decision making would make everything about him at least reasonable, balanced, still a threat, but useful, but not game-breaking. Unfortunately, after the recent nerfs and changes, that is just not true. I've come here today to warn you of what is eventually going to be rotting away your 300-point approved play. Phoenix Nest calls it Davy Crockett. And you might be saying, but Davy Crockett was the king of the wild frontier with a cool raccoon hat. And that is true. And that leads us to today's team. Today's team is very interesting and it solves a lot of problems, and I'm going to break it down. I'm going to show you on the map why it does what it does. I'm not going to have any opposition on the map, just mainly so you can see what's going on. I'm going to be using the Age of Ultron Month 1 and 2 map, the outside elevated terrain. So if you want to pause the video and go get the map, go ahead. Alright, hopefully you're back. Alright, so here's the team, and this is why it is a problem. First off, we start off with, of course, Felix Faust. Felix Faust has his wonderful D20 roll, which got reworked so that, you have to be within 7 range. So technically, according to WizKids rulings, it is an aura effect, no different than any other characters like Science Police and Professor X or Shriek. The limitation is that his range for his aura effect is locked to 7, which is his base range. Now, this is quite useful. The problem comes in is that he has a few other effects that are compounded when you start looking at the dial that just weren't addressed, such as yellow, allowing you to make a attack anywhere with a lock damage of 3, targeting all characters within 5 squares of the spot that you choose, which if you choose well, you won't ever really hurt your own people. So that's a huge element. But you might be going through your head saying, well, Dark Logos, didn't they rule that Faust D20 cannot be re-rolled by probability control? And yes, that is true. Faust D20 cannot be re-rolled by probability control. So, what's the problem? The problem, my friends, lies in the 4 other elements that I'm going to, well, actually 3 other elements that I'm going to introduce to you. Alright, so element number 1. Why is this called Davy Crockett? Well, the raccoon hat. Rocket Raccoon. Double Rocket Raccoon, that is. Double Rocket Raccoon is really the huge problem. Coming in from the Guardians of the Galaxy at 80 points, Rocket Raccoon has the ability to re-roll any die roll that he has line of fire to. So what this means is, coming in at a whopping 80 points, being right next to Faust, he is able to re-roll the D20, since, yes, it's not probability control. Having 2 Rocket Raccoons has created a new conundrum, because you are right back to how you were during Origins. So you have 2 very, very viable attackers with double Rocket Raccoon. Now, you might say to yourself still, but Dark Logos, the effects are limited to 7. Why is this still a problem? If Faust is in his starting area, it's going to be hard for him to like shuffle up and get into the fray to start locking people down. And you would be correct on that element. But we have the next element that is a problem, or the next component that is a problem, and that is Lockjaw from the Inhumans Fast Forces, or the Guardians of the Galaxy Fast Forces, which way you want to look at it. So at 25 points, we are getting 11 movement plasticity. 11 movement and plasticity. No toughness, nothing cool like that. But we have a very unique trait with Lockjaw. Lockjaw is able to carry two friendly characters. Period. He's just able to carry 2 friendlies. Now we go into the rules of carry. A person is able to carry a figure normally and also carry an additional tiny size character at no additional cost, or so at no additional penalty. So Lockjaw functionally can carry this entire team. The final component and element of this team is the Phoenix Force. The Phoenix Force is a very powerful resource when combined with this team. And here's why. You put the Colossus Shard on the base. It's the only shard on the base. You put the Namor Shard on Felix Faust because it gives him free move if you ever need to use free move, which is huge. Then you give one of the Rocket Raccoon's Emma Shard, and you give the other Rocket Raccoon the Cyclops Shard. So what ends up happening is this. Are you in a tough position where you're based, or you have a rocket in a weird position? You are able to take the other rocket and TK out the rocket out into safety, or you're able to further TK up Faust so that he is able to get into another position to continue the lockdown. The amount of control just from those shards is ridiculous. Also, calling the Colossus Shard at the beginning of every turn is a huge element because it gives a great amount of survivability to Rocket Raccoon, to Felix Faust, and to both Rocket Raccoons and Felix Faust. Now, if you're not irritated by now, you will be once we start going into cracking this nut, as so to speak, because we also have Rocket's improved targeting, ignoring hindering terrain. So, not hindering terrain, elevated terrain. So you're able to play this team on maps like the Avengers Age of Ultron map, which I'm bringing up and going to demo for you. Wundagore Mountain, any of the Batman Streets of Gotham approved play kit maps, No Man's Land kit maps, definitely when you're dealing with post-cataclysm. There are a good amount of maps. Some of the Fear Itself maps, the Fear Itself water map, I could go on and on. So overall, and I do mean if, the Davy Crockett team does pick map, it's going to be hard to actually put them in a bad situation, because between yellow and the improved targeting ignores elevation, it's really easy for them to just bombard you from anywhere. But the Phoenix Force also has a couple other elements that are huge, that change up the whole entire dynamic. Because you only have one shard attached, the grouping that you start on is charge, +1 attack, and toughness. While the toughness is really not that useful, the +1 attack is insanely dumb. Insanely dumb. Because at the beginning of the game, if you do roll yellow, guess what? Uh, Felix Faust has a 11 attack for his psychic blast, or for his ranged combat attack. Okay. Then on top of that, he can perplex up his own attack to a 12. A 12 that can't be probbed, can't be re-rolled, except by his two little wonderful raccoon hats that are sitting on the side of him. So if you get that at any point during the game, or early game in particular, what happened to several of my opponents, it is crippling. Definitely crippling. Swarm team, one-man army team, balance team. It is crippling. That is a huge problem. Definitely combined with red, which allows you to reset and put all the figures back into the starting area. So the next combination that's a problem that occurred literally in a game was I rolled yellow, hurt one of my opponents, took some other shots, and then the next turn I rolled red and took everybody back to their starting area. Another bad example of how red is really abusive is that I move forward, my opponent reset again. I took some. I rolled my dice at the beginning of my next turn, rolled red, took shots off with both of my rockets, killed a figure, and then promptly took the power action to send all of our figures back to the starting area. Okay, there is no requirement that definitely going back to the starting area happens at the beginning of the turn, or it happens immediately. So there's another level of problems and shenanigans with that. Okay, because it functionally allows you to get a alpha strike in and have no recourse to what just happened. You have no downside. Okay. So, with that being said, I introduce you the Phoenix Nest masterpiece, Davy Crockett. Okay, so pretty much what I've done is I don't have two Rocket Raccoons, but what I've done is I have the Age of Ultron map, and I think it is the Thebes, Egypt map. And you can sort of see, yeah, this is your standard Age of Ultron map, okay? Now, what I'm about to show you is, I didn't have a matchup on this map, but this was one thing that I had thought of setting up, and I'm going to show you why I thought about setting up on this map in particular, okay? Now, the only reason you would want to pick this map is because you're not facing a colossal like Brainiac ship. And trust me, I'm working on getting that tech back, okay, without using indigo battery. So, all right, so here we go. This is what it comes down to. These are going to represent our rockets because they're nice and bright and yellow, and you can see them really clearly, okay? That's the main reason I picked those figures. Right in the middle, of course, is Felix Faust, and then this is Lockjaw, okay? And that is the standard 25-point Lockjaw. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you in real time what I'm going to do with this team and just show you the die rolls, okay? All right, so die roll number 1. I roll gray. Let's say I roll again. I roll purple one more time. I roll plus. Okay. Automatically right there you see, and I'm just carefully lifting and showing the camera, you know, I did roll plus. All right, so you might look at it in a normal game, that's 3 turns before I roll plus. But immediately I've got it, and I'm still in my starting area. Now you might say like, well, all right, Dark Logos, you roll plus, you're in your starting area, you know, what does plus do? Well, let's just read it off. Plus says give Felix Faust a free action until your next turn. Opposing characters may only be giving ranged combat actions. All right, so I'm already sort of fine, but let's just say like, okay, this is a slightly waste of time for right now. All right, so what I can do, and I'm gonna zoom out real quick, is I'm gonna go into this corner. I'm gonna have Lockjaw move right there. So he's gonna be on this diagonal here. I'm gonna put Rocket Raccoon 1 there, Rocket Raccoon 2 there, and I'm going to put Felix Faust here. Now, here's the thing about that placement. Lockjaw, because he's on the diagonal, is adjacent to all three characters. So if I need to move, I can move. All right? You're at no point in time are you locked out from traveling with Faust. Okay? Both Rocket Raccoons have clear line of sight onto Felix Faust. So let's just say, for example, my opponent is a lot closer. And I'm going to get a figure to better represent that. Get a figure to represent that. So let's say I have Mon-El, yay, and Mon-El is shown up with Alfred. Okay. Now, Mon-El has shown up with Alfred. They've gotten right there. Mon-El does not have improved targeting, ignores hindering, and I mean elevation. And then the other thing is, you might say like, well, Dark Logos, aren't you on a square where you can be shot? No, I'm not. This square and this square stops line of fire to this square right here. Okay, so that's a big deal. You can't do anything. So now I'm going to roll my D20, and again I'm doing it so you can see. So roll one. Okay, I roll the defend the shield power, which is give Felix Faust a free action until your next turn. Action tokens are not removed from opposing characters, which is not that bad. I can choose to keep on that, but let's just say I don't. Re-roll. I rolled any. All right, so from that point, I can pick the Psychic Blast, or my opponent can only make close combat actions, anything like that. Just having one re-roll, I went from a good roll to the best roll. I literally went from good roll to the best roll. So let's just say, all right, I've used one probability control. Sorry, not probability control. I used one tactical thing. Let's just say it's this one. All right. Now I have 2 Rocket Raccoons that are able to shoot. I have a perplex, and let's just say my any is my opponent can only do close combat actions for the next turn. That in and of itself is huge, because guess what? My Mon-El has moved up. He has an action token. You know, Alfred is there, and there's nothing really much I can do. There's not much that Mon-El can do. So I'm just going to have Rocket Raccoon with a 12 attack, get his damage perplexed up, and he's going to have the Cyclops shard. So he's going to have his damage, his attack perplexed up. So now he's a 13 attack, and I'm just going to put all of his ranged combat on his damage. Okay, so now Rocket is a 13 attack versus Mon-El's 17 defense, and Rocket is able to do 5 damage. Okay, so I could just be like, boom, all right, I got that. And let's say I hit, and then Mon-El does not take Mon-El takes damage. He has impervious, fails his impervious, so he's going to take 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. So now I'm on invulnerability. Second Rocket doesn't have, Cyclops shard or anything like that. He shoots, he hits, it'll do 1 damage. Boom. Okay, now I'm on the 18 defense. All right, Felix can just chill. I don't need to even put Felix in a position where he's at risk. And I've done a stupid level of damage to my opponent, okay? I now have another choice. I have one action left. I can do a couple of things. I can either A, in my turn, I can B, since my opponent can only do close combat actions next turn, since all of my Phoenix Force people are poison, I could take Lockjaw and move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I could place 9, yeah, 9, because and I can place Felix Faust here, him here, and him here. Okay? Now you might say, well, okay, well, that's sort of dumb. Now you can be hit. No, I can't. I can't be hit. So I'm adjust the camera. So you can see it a little bit better. So Rocket 1, Felix, Rocket 2, Lockjaw. And this is Alfred right here. Alfred doesn't have any damage reduction. And the next turn, okay, how much damage does Alfred do? Oh, Alfred does 1 damage. My entire team has invulnerability from the Colossus Shard. Okay? That's dumb. So the following turn, Alfred tries to perplex up his damage and roll a crit hit and fail. Okay? And then he's going to, in the beginning of my turn, he's going to take 1, 2, 3 damage. And now, he's dead. Because of whatever else happened. So Alfred is now dead purely from poison. I've done nothing of any level of significance. Okay, and then I roll my D20. So let's just roll again. Green, I'm gonna re-roll that. Green, re-roll it one more time, and green. So yeah, all right, I got completely unlucky. And I rolled green 3 times, all right? But guess what? Monel only has charge. Big whoop. Okay? So all I do is decide if I want to push or not. And I don't want to push. But since Felix Faust is right there, he has Psychic Blast, and I'm still +1 attack, I might as well go ahead, up my attack to a 12, Psychic Blast him for 3. So 1, 2, 3. Monel's dead. Good game. Good game. So you might say, well, Dark Logos, that's not really the best of best teams. It's not the best example of the meta or whatever. What happens if you fight Supreme Intelligence or Brainiac Ship or anything that's super deep or huge or whatever? Okay, this is what it really comes down to. You already saw for 2 mock turns, I successfully rolled efficient control. Just in the wild, like just me rolling, okay? And there's no hoodoo or voodoo on the dice, okay? There's nothing altered with the dice. I hope you can see that. And there's no specific way that I was throwing. You might even say, all right, I'm throwing on a glass table. I can even throw on the floor or on the stone or whatever else. It doesn't matter, okay? The way that this dice is going to roll, just odds-wise, it's still in my favor. Even if I just drop it like that, it's not getting that much bounce, okay? So what we're coming back to is this. With this map in particular, with the Thebes Egypt map, I'm able to lock down my opponents and engage. I'm able to attack my opponents from a large distance. I'm able to re-roll my D20 successfully, okay, and get what I want. Yes, that does mean that if I need it for attacks or preventing crit misses or anything like that, I don't have it. But Rocket is pretty stable. He's pretty stable on his attack values. I have a +1, on his damage values. I have a +1 attack from the Phoenix Force. I KO anybody on the Phoenix Force. Using the Phoenix Force, I immediately I gotta find my right grouping, because I immediately go into sidestep. Yep, here we go. I go from charge, +1 attack, toughness, into sidestep, energy explosion, +1 defense enhancement. Now, just pointing out and zooming back in a little bit, okay? Now, I want you to understand this, of how stupid this is. This rocket has range combat expert. He's getting +1 damage from Felix Faust. Felix Faust is getting 2 enhancements from both of the rockets, okay? So a standard attack, Felix Faust can do a 10 attack with 5 damage in this formation. And he perplexes up his attack to an 11. He has +1 defense from the Phoenix Force. So now he's a 19, okay? The Rocket Raccoons are 18s with invulnerability and super senses on top dial, okay? The only figure that's completely vulnerable is Lockjaw, which most people aren't going to tag. Now, I will say this, if your opponent is smart, they'll tag Lockjaw so you can't bamf around and stuff. And yes, there is the sniper rifle to try to make sure that you're not, that you could try to get a first shot out on somebody. But let me show you how actually difficult that is. So we're gonna reset, all right? And we're just going to, for a moment, just pretend that this is a flat map. We're just going like there's no multiple elevation, okay? I'm gonna set up my lovely assistant of Monel, because he's bright green, he stands out on the map. Sometimes folks wonder, like, well, why do you pick the figures for topography? It's mainly so that they can stand out, so you can see them on the map. If you have a map and it's a lot of green, then you probably want like a darker figure, or like an orange. If you have, like this type of grayish map, you want to have something that's like bright colors. Okay, all right, so they're back in the starting area. All right, so we're going to start seeing why this is completely dumb. So Monel is way over there in the other starting area with my awesome camera work. Boom, and he's with Alfred. Okay, so all right, so here we go. Here we go. Let's say the Davy Crockett goes first. Let's do our rolls. Up, fist. Yep, you only can do close combat attacks. That's not quite useful quite yet, but if I start to count it out, I can move 9 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm gonna mark where we can end off on the map, okay? Square, and that would give me influence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm almost by their starting area at that stage. I really am. All right, but here's the other thing. I have a perplex. I can perplex up Lockjaw's movement, and I can move up 1 more. All right, so from jump, could I affect the person in their starting area using Lockjaw? No, I can't. I can't shut them down in their starting area on turn 1, okay? So what am I going to do? I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit, because in heroclix culture, we're so used to people just saying pass, all right? So your opponent sees that, they're going to be like, well, here's my wonderful chance, but here's the next problem. Okay? Here's the next problem. You see, way down there is Monel, and way down here is Davy Crockett. Oh, what's separating you from shooting Felix Faust? Oh yes, that nice little wall of Lockjaw. So now it limits your meta even more, because you can't have like a cool figure like Monel, the LE Monel with the Green Lantern. You can't, because you're going to need improved targeting, ignores characters. or be a sharpshooter. Okay? So now you got a whole new level of, oh my gosh, this sucks. All right. So let's just say you're gonna move out with your Alfred and whatnot, and boom. Okay, so you move out a reasonable distance. You're not quite mid map, but you're out enough to do something. Okay? Here's the problem. Let's just I left my die there for a marker for a reason. That's where Lockjaw can get to. Okay? That's where Lockjaw can get to. And again, I place Faust here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have a quarter of the map to hide behind. And if your opponent just decides to stall, they're not going to leave their starting area. Well, guess what? All you do is just say, all right, I move up a quarter of my field. Technically, in 2 to 3 turns, I own you. You can't shoot me, I can't shoot you, but when I clear and move up again, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be in your face. You have to look at it as I have a 16 swing. And that's the easiest way to put it. So we're looking at this new level of hyper control, like insane level hyper control. So let's sort of plot that out, and you can see it for yourself. Okay. I'm gonna move. Let me move Monel back. Let's say Monel and crew with his awesome butler decide. All right, Felix Faust, I see you over there, evil magician man. Let me stand my ground and plan. You know, evil will not have its day. And you know, Faust is over here. It's like, I've mind controlled the best animals from the Marvel universe to do my bidding. Okay, I'm coming for you, homie. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Simple. 5. And you're still standing in the same formation. If you're really cautious, let's just say 4. All right, now let's look at the type of mobility that you have to hit Felix. Okay, he's 4 squares from his starting area. Okay, sniper rifle on Monel. Okay, TK out Monel. I'm just making all this stuff up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, then let's say you have a standard running shot of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you have this one figure all the way down here. He can even hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So back 1. He can hit his whole entire starting area right where my die is at. Okay? Just right in there. And he can take his shot and he can kill Lockjaw. But and even if he was 10 squares away from Lockjaw, and let's just make it like that. 10 squares away from Lockjaw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. All the way back over here. Okay. 10 squares away from Lockjaw, you take in your sniper rifle shot, and it's all gravy. And let's say you hit. All right. Most characters, you spend all of your perplex and everything else on getting Monel out there. Let's just say Monel's doing 4 damage. Will that kill Lockjaw? Let's find out. You know, let's ask Mr. Owl. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, Lockjaw's still alive, and he only has a 10 movement. Yay! You've reduced my mobility by 1. Okay, so let's do our magical Wonder Time rolls. Purple, red. Oh, we could go back to our starting areas if I choose, but let's reroll one more time. And dark blue. Okay, so yeah, I think like all speed values are locked at 3. So yeah, that's not that great. But you can start to see, like, if I roll like, hey, you can only do melee attacks. I'm right there on top of you now. What are you going to do your next turn? Nothing. So there's a problem.
There's a straight problem there. Also, if you look at it like this, you're either restricted to long-range sniper figures that have 8 or higher range, or you're forced playing the sniper rifle and the power battery, a power battery on every team. So that's another level of problem that just gets compounded with this whole effect. And even more so, let's just say you are able to get a shot on Felix Faust. With 4 damage, it's going to get reduced down to 2. And yeah, you just took Mystics. So yeah, it's a 2-to-1 exchange. You've dealt more damage, but now you're not on your awesome top click anymore. And the following turn, it's definitely for sure that you're coming back and giving whoever it is that shot you a bad day. So let's just say for argument's sake, all right, let's just say for argument's sake, I rolled Fist. Okay? So you only can do melee attacks. Crippled, Lockjaw. So Lockjaw is going to carry up Monel, since we have this tent pole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can get super close. Now, I've got all of my probs on Monel. I've got all of my attacks on Monel. And so he's also in the aura. Then we can also see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm almost in the starting area and who I'm affecting as well. So I could, if I did choose to do so, even do a formation like this for a turn where now Felix Faust is on the edge. Now he's affecting people on that first row, that starting area. Or heck, I could have just perplexed up Lockjaw's movement by 1 and everything is up by 1 and I'm fine. And then I just do the other formation. Boom, I've affected everything in the starting area. So there's this problem here. Because the lockdown is way too strong. And then let me zoom in so you can get a better glimpse of that. So you see where Felix is, you see Lockjaw, and you see Monel, and then right back there is Alfred. Okay, so there's a problem with this setup, because even if I so choose and I roll, let's say I roll black, I'm like, oh, I have outwit. You know, I could be based. You know, if I'm on click 2 of the Phoenix Force and I have sidestep, I'm like, okay, I outwit your defense, sidestep, poison, poison. And now I've done 3 damage to Monel without rolling any dice. So I'm never one of those people that's like the sky is completely falling, Chicken Little sort of thing. And this isn't the sky is falling, but out of 3 games that I played last night, no one had a good time. No one had a good time playing this. It was completely obnoxious. And you could say, well, hey, Dark Logos, you got lucky rolling. No, I didn't get lucky rolling. I played odds, and the odds were always in my favor. Okay, if you say you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting, you know, a lockdown power or whatever you want, then you have to start relooking at the dice more closely. So let's really look at the realistic odds of the actual resource itself. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 direct lockdown. You can only do these powers. Okay, that automatically creates a 1 in 4 chance of a lockdown. That's a 1 in 4 chance of a lockdown effect happening. Then you have Mystical Trap, which allows you to lock down specifically a figure or potentially up to 2 figures. Okay, so then you increase that, you know, again, in your odds are in your favor. You add in 2 re-rolls, so you're looking at least for a potential lockdown to happen that's in your favor. And I'm not even talking about the power dampening and all the other stuff. Just straight up, you're looking at a 1 in 3, maybe a 1 in 3.5 of you getting what you want, and you have 3 rolls. You have 3 rolls. Roll 1, red. Roll 2, brown. Roll 3, plus. It's not fun. It's not fun, and this game should be fun. So, again, I'd like to thank you for watching this. I would actually recommend that you be a little obnoxious with this video. I've never been like, yeah, guys, promote my video, promote my video, promote my video. But send this out to your friends, and send this out to, you know, the people that you know that play the game, that run your venue, because no matter what, I'm here to help everybody get better, but Felix Faust needs to still be banned from your local venue, because I'm just giving you generation 1 of this. This is generation 1 of this. Generation 2 could be far worse. You could be seeing, you know, Gates, Manifold, all sorts of other number of super hyper carriers coming out there and doing the exact same thing, just with different figures. You have enough points to you have enough points. Let's just leave it at that. You have enough points to play with. You know, you could do Round Table with this, you can do Lanterns with this, you can do Phoenix Force with this, you can do Power Plant with this, you can do whatever Scooby-Doo you want to do with this. I'm just putting out there what I initially thought was the most survivable and gives you the most upfront advantage. So here's what I want you to do. If you follow WizKids on Twitter, just tweet this video at them. Just tweet this video at them. If you know anybody else in the heroclix community, send this, you know, tweet the video at them too. I don't want this to be like viral bomb or anything like this, but I do want people to be aware that, yeah, WizKids is not making proper decisions in how they're handling the editing of Faust. They just need to they all they had to do was just flat out rule D20s cannot be re-rolled. Pure and simple, D20s cannot be re-rolled. So it wouldn't matter in the future if there is a character that ignores die rolls and changes die rolls, or there's a character that's allow you to pick a die roll result. It cannot be changed or re-rolled. And that is the huge element that really needs to be fixed. So I hope that is useful for you. And I know some people might not like, you know, the video. If you were sent to this video by a friend, I'm sorry. I got donated equipment, brothers, you know, working on a budget. So I'm still happy about just being able to do this. So thank you for listening, and remember, we all have to start over sometime.